Welcome to Simply Happy Conversations, a podcast that teaches you how to create a clutter-free, functional and simply happy life. I'm Narelle King, a professional organiser who supports families with practical steps to simplify their lives and create a more organised home. I'm passionate about supporting neurodivergent families and individuals like myself. Every fortnight, I also share guest conversations with experts passionate about the future of our home, health and the planet, which will provide you with actionable takeaways to create a more organised and happy life. Did you know that most families in Australia do between 3 and 5 loads of washing a week? Roughly 20 minutes a day is spent on laundry tasks, which adds up to over 240 hours a year. Today on the podcast, I'm talking with Cathy Player from Howards Storage World. She's Howards' own expert organiser and creative mind behind the solutions you see in Howards Catalogue. With over 20 years experience with the brand, she's done hundreds of makeovers. Cathy will be sharing today ideas to successfully communalise your laundry into a group responsibility and advise you on the best solutions for small spaces. This conversation is a video recording that you can also watch on YouTube. Let's jump into this Simply Happy guest conversation. So today on Simply Happy Conversations, I have with me Cathy Player from Howards Storage World, and she is Howard's expert organiser and creative mind behind the solutions you see in the Howards Catalogue. And everyone loves a Howards Catalogue just to flick through, don't they? Cathy will be sharing some ideas to help us in our laundry and also maybe some best solutions for small spaces. Welcome, Cathy.
Oh, thank you, Narelle. And I'm so excited to be here today. And we're going to talk about all my favourite things.
So maybe start so people can get to know you a little bit. If you were a Barbie doll, what two accessories would you come with?
Look, I would just love to say an ironing board, but I can't kind of go there. So I'll be genuine and real about this and say I'm thinking outdoor movie theatre. With something like Mamma Mia playing on it, you know, with everybody out having their dance and all the rest. And the second thing, without a doubt, would have to be a beautiful boat, a yacht, of course. And because there's nothing like getting out into the fresh air with your friends and your glass of champagne and the elements and
nice. And so do you live like near the water in Sydney yourself?
Yes. Yeah, so I'm up here I'm in Sydney's northern beaches. Yep. And I have some wonderful friends that I go sailing with weekly. We do twilight sails, and honestly, it's my happy place.
Oh, how nice.
It's like my next happy place, other than my laundry.
I actually love that when you said laundry, because that's probably one of my happy places. That's my obsession in our house. I'm like, just leave it. I'll do it my way. So yes, I do love a laundry. So I was really keen when you said laundry, let's focus on the laundry. That, that's an area I love too. So if I was a professional organizer, if I was coming to your house and you were able to have a professional organizer for the day, what areas would you like, an area that you'd like support with?
Okay, so it's not my laundry because I think I've got that under control. But, you know, I love that question because it sort of makes you do a little bit of soul searching, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And to bring a professional organizer in is actually to say that I've got something that's not quite together. And so you have to admit something there, don't you? Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, you know what, there's up in the attic of our house, we've built this incredible, my husband made a whole project of putting a floor in the top of the garage and into the rafters, and it's this really amazing storage space. But as tends to happen with the storage space, you fill it, and it's got literally all the eras of our life in there. And now it has my mother's era as well, because she passed, a year ago. And so now I have her life in there with our life. And I think for me it was, I loved your question. So I think maybe that's the time for an impartial reevaluation. Do I really need to hang on to it?
Yeah, definitely, isn't it? And that's probably also harder area, isn't it? Because it's that sentimental part to it.
Yeah, definitely. Sentiment. Yes, very much. Yeah. And I'm a very sentimental person, so it is hard to let go of those things. But your rational brain tells you that you really can't allow that clutter to hold you back from living your life. Definitely. And to do all your best things that are to come. And just because it's out of sight doesn't necessarily mean that it's out of mind. It does weigh you down when you have too much. So yes, that's my next area to be attacked.
Yeah. And you've got some amazing professional organisers in Sydney who could even assist you, isn't there?
Oh, most certainly. And I just love that whole process of using a professional organiser because it enables you to step outside of it and to be so much more efficient and clinical about the way you attack it, and it's so liberating as a consequence. So
definitely.
So worthwhile.
Yeah. So then give us a bit of a brief intro about Howards Storage World, because there's listeners who are from all over the world who are like, what's Howards Storage World?
Oh, look, Howards Storage World has been a part of my life now for over 20 years. I've worked for Howards for 20, and prior to that, they were my clients. I used to work with an advertising agency and producing catalogues, and I found Howards and I became obsessed with it because Howards is such an interesting business. It started off being more about plastic containers and shelving systems like Alpha and so on, but it has evolved into this really amazing business, which is at its heart all about storage and organisation for the home, for the office, but in truth, it's so much more than just products, because Howards is very fundamentally based on great service as well. So it's not quite like walking into a shop where you just buy items off a shelf and walk out. It's very much that whole business of trying to help our customers stitch together the right solutions, because products are just products at the end of the day. But when you craft them together into this beautiful, elegant solution, I just love it when people come back to a store and they say, I didn't do that years ago. That was such a simple change to make, and yet it's made such a fundamental difference in my world. And one of my favourites there, I'll just bring it back to laundry if I may.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
I just love it when, for instance, a pregnant lady will come in, with husband in tow into a Howards store, and you can just see. You can see the machine working there. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to do all of this laundry. I need a new system now, and it's time-based, and it's going to happen. And you can see the partner, obviously, like, we're going to make this happen. So, yeah, I think that gives a bit of an insight as to how Howards operates. It's about great products, products designed to last, good quality, good branded products, and then stitching it all together into good solutions.
And I see that's why there's such a great partnership between Howards and the professional organisers here in Australia, Australasia, because, we're there maybe physically in the space going, okay, what's a solution? But it's not just going, down the road to a hardware store or something else. It's like, no, actually, I've got something better, especially when you have those tricky situations, tricky spaces, isn't it? That you need something really specific to solve that problem.
Well, it's a bit like when you're using like a PC, like a Windows system, there's always 3 different answers of how you can get to a solution. Yeah. It's very much the way it is when you come into Howards. And I really enjoy when our store staff, they just love this idea, that challenge of working out a different way of thinking about a problem sometimes. And I mean, often we'll go to a solution that might be like a simple container and so on. But sometimes that's actually not the best solution, and certainly not the best solution long term. For instance, like a stainless steel pull-out drawer can be installed where it sits on the sides of a cupboard, and that can unlock like 2/3 of your shelf space. A simple shelf, you'll use about the front third of it, and everything in middle to back, you tend to forget about it. So unlocking all of that space essentially means you don't have to move house. Yeah. Because you have outgrown your space and you can't live in it anymore. It can mean empowering your children to be a bit more independent if you have a functioning pantry. So there's all these really good thoughts about how to be better organised. And I suppose to your point about many different ways to solve a problem, we will do everything from the grand, pull everything out, put an entire shelving system in, and that will grow with your needs, all the way down to a simple plastic container. So it's everything in between.
Yeah,
that's
I love
the fun
that.
of it, isn't it, Narelle?
Yes. And look, it was even at the conference when I saw you speak, and then sitting next to 2 people, and both of those girls had a problem that they said, oh, I went into Howards and they solved my problem with this particular product. And one of them was a bin that a dog had been getting into. And I was like, I have that problem. Our dog gets into our bin in my daughter's room. And she's like, oh my gosh, you've got to get this particular bin. It's weighted enough. It's still small. And then they can't open it. I was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. Whereas I'd been searching everywhere else and so that was great. And then to hear the other girl have her same thing. She was like telling her story of the products that she got to solve a particular problem, because you have like hundreds of bins, not just the one standard bin that, it's to suit all the different issues that come up.
And I think there's no replacing human connection. And when you can walk into a store and somebody will talk to you and listen to the issues that you have, and then helping you to tease out what that problem is and what the opportunities are to solve it. But yes, I love those. There are actually some bins that have a lock on them.
Yeah, which I thought that was really clever. So what do you think, what strengths do you think you bring to the role at Howards then?
Oh, wow. So maybe I'm a little bit obsessed about organisation. I think that's probably, and, I think that you probably have found the same thing, Narelle, that, in the early days, I used to just assume that everybody thought the way I did about spaces and had this notion of wanting a room to be functional and to be efficient in a room and so on. And it turns out that not everybody thinks that way. So, and I think there's enormous joy, isn't there, in empowering people to think about a space differently. And I must say, it just brings such enormous joy to me personally when I can positively inject some systems into people's lives. And I suppose I work in the marketing department. I run the marketing department. So we have the pleasure of doing this every single day, and it's about pulling together these solutions, doing makeovers, doing the catalogue. The catalogue is the most wonderful thing because it curates all these collections of products and so on, and then designing. And there's been a huge evolution around from the early days of when I first started with Howards, when it really was just products, and I could see this vision of where it needed to be. It needed to be more about solutions. And then, a super simple example of the fridge. You would just have a fridge section in the store, but it's not just about having any old products when you're doing a solution, is it? It's about having the right products in the right places to make things easier. And okay, we'll come back to the laundry because it is our topic. The laundry is just such a massive place. So simple, the thinking. If you can get your thinking aligned, every day is better. Not just once in a while. It's every day is better. And if you stitch together, every day being better, then I think it does a lot for your mental health. And I think there's a real responsibility that we have, especially if you have a family, to pass along those good disciplines and good thinking and this good structure. I think there's a fundamental skill for life.
Yeah, definitely. So Shen, share with us, what are some of your favourite things when talking about the laundry? What are some ideas that that can help us in the laundry?
All right. Okay, well, I suppose where we're going to actually has I think we need to recognise where we've come from and stuff. It wasn't that long ago when, I'll speak for my own family, my nana, so my mother's mother, was not allowed to go to work as a political journalist because she had to stay home with her 7 brothers and wash, iron and starch all their white shirts. So I look at that magnificent woman and the sort of sacrifices that she made in her lifetime, and super smart. She was a super smart woman. But she did it. She had to do that. She wasn't allowed to work. Then I look at my mother, the 60s rebel, married in the 60s, but my father never lifted a finger to do any laundry, ever. I don't think he even ironed a shirt. It was all done for him. And then here I am, where my husband does most of the laundry. He irons all of his shirts. And my son left home with the express mission that he would know how to wash, he would know how to iron, he would know how to mend, and he can cook and all those things. How we have changed so much in such a short amount of time. there is nothing sort of a revolution that's happening in the laundry space. And it's such a massive alignment, I suppose, with that feminist movement of that acknowledgement of that invisible labour that was put into this really huge task. And I really think that today our thoughts about the laundry, we're lucky, of course, we have beautiful machines that can do the major parts of it, but it's so much more than that in a house, isn't it, the laundry? That's that whole heavy lifting of how do you make that space work really well? How do you make the space fun so that the entire family can become involved? So from my experience of many, many makeovers and all the various products that we see and all the intel we get from our suppliers as well, is that there is huge potential in the laundry if you get it right. And often it starts with, using your walls, your doors and so on, but having that objective eye. So there's a lot of time and space-saving tricks that you can employ in the laundry. There's actually many different approaches that you can take in a laundry. There's no one size fits all, even though there's a basic process. There's a basic underlying process of sort, wash, dry, fold, distribute. You have your basic core. But what that means in my household in a 2-bedroom apartment versus say the house that I was in just a couple of years ago, which was a 5-bedroom house with a big family with 2 stories, it's a whole different process. So, it means different things to different people. And then you add into that the challenges of potentially disability or age, etc. And then you start to really think about, how do I take the heavy lifting out of this? And there are ways to do that. It just requires a little bit of time to stop and think and process it. And I think, Narelle, I was just talking to a colleague of mine a moment ago about our shared passion for laundry, actually, and that is, I think, an area in the coal mine, the laundry. Have you ever walked into somebody's house and everything looks picture perfect?
Oh, yeah.
Right? And then you just happen to see the laundry, have a little peek, and it's an absolute chaos zone. The bombs hit it, and it's so totally out of control.
Yeah.
And you just have to wonder to yourself, how do they get out the door each day? How do they find those clothes? How do the kids find their sports uniforms on time? There are so many things that we can almost glean from this space, and thus the opportunity. If you can put some simple solutions in place, then it really is possible to have, I think, this underlying feeling of being a little bit more in control of every day. Back to my earlier comment.
Oh, definitely.
Yes. Absolutely every day. So, yeah. And to the whole point about if you have children in the mix, then that opportunity to set up some good positive systems where you can foster responsibility and routine.
Definitely.
And, collaborating and sharing in the process. It doesn't have to be a chore. In fact, I don't really find it a chore at all, doing the laundry anymore, because I've got it under control. But it's taken years of kind of studying it and figuring out what to do, and if, there are obviously, as I said, the hints and tricks of some decent products like good hampers and things like that. But can I give you a quick fun fact?
Yeah, definitely.
Give you a fun fact. Do you know that the average family does roughly 8 to 10 loads of washing a week? And that's over 400 loads a year.
Oh, wow. Yes, that's a lot.
That's just cascaded up into, yes, that's a great big hairy, scary number.
And is that based on a family of 4?
Yeah, that's based on a family of 4.
I'd say that's pretty exact, because I'm just trying to think of when I do the washing, and I try to do one every second day. And then on the weekend, I probably do then, if I do the bedding and the towels, that's when it adds up.
That's it. That's exactly right. And here's another fun fact, laundry and exercise. Apparently the whole process of doing your laundry burns about 100 calories in 30 minutes. Another great reason to get it sorted. Hey?
So what are some of your ideas around the process that you might do or suggest to people that works really well? Yeah, perfect. So I have 3 keywords to organise my process when it comes to solving a problem with any space in the home, actually. It's as simple as this: stop,
sort, solve. 3 simple words.
I love it. And they all start with S as well.
Funny about that. And the reason why that really works is that I think that one of the most common, in my experience, one of the most common problems is that we get pretty enthusiastic about this idea. I'm going to fix the laundry, and we dive in and we just make it happen. And one of the greatest overlooked opportunities in any space in your home is to actually stop and just stand back and evaluate the space. And that is where professional organisers are so disciplined with this. And that they're not touching anything to begin with. They're talking. And we look at the space, and you're looking for the opportunities, the spaces that are not being used. You look for the workflow that's there, and sometimes you'll find that a drying machine is all the way over there, the washing machine is all the way over there. That there is no error, that there's, the back of the door's not being used, that and that there can be danger in the laundry. Oh my goodness. Having cleaning chemicals stored within reach of children, that just you've got to be so careful, don't you? Even things like storing your pet medicines and things like that in there as well. So like worming tablets.
Yes, ours are all in there. I'm just thinking of our laundry. And that's what happens with laundries. They become a dumping ground, don't they, for anywhere else that there's no room for. We'll just put it in the laundry. Yeah,
definitely. Clearly the core of the laundry is what's important. It's about getting the whole washing cycle right. But, having that ability to extend the use of that space to be able to reach into the cleaning zone and storing other things in there that you might store your towels in there or something, whatever. There's good opportunity in the space. So stop is the first thing. Start with a plan, work out where the opportunities are. Workflow is absolutely the secret. That's the secret sauce in the laundry. And I literally think of it in terms of number of physical steps I'm taking to get the job done. And I can basically say that in a 2-bedroom apartment, I have it down to a fine art. And I know I shouldn't use the dryer all the time, but I tell you what, I never iron because it comes straight out of the dryer onto a hanger and literally 3 steps away from where the dryer is, it's on a hanger and on, hanging up in a wardrobe, because we've designed our system that way. And I think that's really important. But there are other things that you can plan into that space to make it, to give it, to elevate it, apart from making it look beautiful, which is totally possible. There's little things like mending stations and having a stain station. I'll never forget the most wonderful interview I did with Shannon Life, the author of the incredible book. And, is there anything that woman doesn't know about removing stains?
Yes.
But having your key ingredients on hand and so on just means that, because it all costs money, doesn't it, at the end of the day?
Yep.
And if it's not costing you money in terms of reducing the spoilage in your clothes, how about the cost in time? I really, more and more as I get older, I find that I value my time with a passion.
Yeah.
And so having that mending station and being able to pop on the quick button or whatever, and I'm never looking for needle and thread. I never waste time with any of those things anymore. So that's the first part. Stop. Plan out where all those things have to go. Sort, of course, is where you pull everything out, give it a really good clean, start again, and you put in place this solution that you have worked out when you were doing the stopping and planning phase. So that might be installing some sensible shelves. You could install, for instance, one of my favourites is the Tanzel pull-out hampers. Have you seen those?
No, I haven't.
Oh, my goodness. They're just wonderful. If you've got a lovely big laundry and you've got some cupboards in there, you can have these, the Tanzel pull-out drawers, the stainless steel drawers you put in your kitchen. Imagine that as a hamper size inside a cupboard. So there you are. There's a bigger solution we were talking about. Most times we, of course, usually have a freestanding hamper and have that sort, divided hampers to do that. But if you want to elevate it, that's an opportunity there. Or with an Elfa shelving system, you can have a basket system for putting your laundry into that to pre-sort it. But don't you just love this idea about having a sorting station where it's everybody's responsibility to sort?
Yeah. Definitely. And we do have that now. It's like different buckets for the different things that need to be. Otherwise, it's just a pile. I'm like, well, what is this? Oh, that needs a stain removed, Mum. Oh, this needs a button done. Exactly. So unless I've got that set up, I have no idea what these items are all sitting on the bench for.
I had the most one. I was telling you about the son and last conversation I had, and I asked her how many sorting buckets that she has, or sorting hampers, and she said 7.
Wow.
Off the top of my head, I don't know that I can actually repeat them all to you, but you have your obvious ones like your white, dark colours. The colours you can divide, of course, into mixed colours, and red. Red deserves its own colour all on its own. Then you have your delicates, then you have your dry cleaning, and then you have your hamper of the things that have stains that need some real work on them before they go in the wash. So there's opportunities. Most people have a very simple system, of course, and sort of deal on a more compact way. But, if you're sounding like you go all the way, don't you?
Oh, yeah. And if you've got the space, it's all about the space too, isn't it? So what about also for solutions around like the end part? Because I would say that is the part that I see most of the problems. So, it gets washed, it gets taken outside. But after that, that's where the problem, it comes back in and it's a big pile of mess on someone's couch or on one person's bed. Have you got any suggestions?
Absolutely. So we're in the solve part now. We're well and truly we've cleaned it, we're putting everything back. So this infrastructure really is where, you can make a big difference in keeping it all under control. This is the difference between a tidy up and a real system. When you've got this infrastructure in place. Now, the distribution station that you're talking about can fundamentally change the way the family works. So instead of having the wash come off the line and going into a basket as one consolidated heap that then has to be folded and distributed, one way to do it is to do it into, literally have multiple baskets. So it comes off the line. So that is your Narelle's basket and then your partner's basket, maybe then one for your kids, etc. So you're dividing and conquering. But we've sort of taken it up a notch a little bit with some solutions that we've done with the Alpha. There's a Alpha basket that then slide in to a freestanding frame, and that can have the all-important label on the front. And you know what, Narelle? I used to do that and then take the basket up the stairs to the kids' rooms. Of course, when they're younger, they can't do it. But as they get older, you then transition, of course, to more shared responsibility. And so I would definitely leave their baskets in the sorting station, and then it's their responsibility to take it up to their rooms, etc. But as soon as it gets into that basket, that's it. It's no longer my responsibility. I have divided, I have conquered, I have cleaned it. Now it's up to you to do something with it. And I love those ones, especially when you can put them on wheels,
Yeah, that's great.
And have a lid on top, and it's easy to then put your basket on top of all your baskets, etc. And on the side, I have to have a couple of towers like that because you can swap them. You can do higher as well. But I think it's clever to have simple infrastructure that just doesn't warp, doesn't break, just works day after day and gets the job done.
Definitely. And I am a huge fan of sorting stations, and I do set that up. That's one of my strategies in most families' homes. But I didn't know about the Alpha. Think about using that system is a great way of doing it as well. Yeah. So then to come back to small spaces, this is something, this is when I would be jumping on Howard's website and looking up some suggestions. What are some of the great products for small spaces? Like bathrooms. Oh, what are like laundries are definitely tiny. It's always the European laundry. Yeah, certainly.
Pantries. Pantries.
They're probably the three: bathroom, pantry, and laundries are the three small spaces. How long
do we have?
I know. Just maybe your favourite for each.
Okay, all right. Well, let's just go into the laundry first of all. There's been some innovation within the laundry space. One of my favourite brands at the moment is, in fact, Joseph. So they've developed an ironing board that when you think of small mini ironing boards, you tend to think of something that's pretty cheap, lightweight, that is maybe something that you might find in a hotel room, right?
Yep.
Think again. There's an incredible ironing board that Joseph has, the pocket ironing board that folds in half, but the deck on it is actually the same sort of thickness as a proper, beautifully felted and covered ironing board. But the thing is, it folds in half, and it even has a holder on it for your iron to go on the outside.
Wow. Oh, that's
and
amazing.
It doesn't stop there. It's all designed to then say clothes, and it has a hook that will go, say, inside a cupboard or on the back of the door, etc. So it takes up next to no room, but it is a really solid piece of kit. So that's my first one. Then to stay in the laundry again, they've come out with a collapsible laundry basket. And they're gorgeous in all these different colours and things. And so I think that, the traditional plastic laundry basket that we've all known and loved has just had an upgrade.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's a clever thing. And Joseph also, in the same vein, because they've taken this fantastic approach on the laundry, have a hamper that you can get in single, double, trio, so the 3 divided ones. But instead of the entire hamper having to go to the laundry, if it's travelling from a room in particular, it has this inner, how would you call it, an inner bag with 2 handles that pulls out. So sensible.
Oh, that's good.
It's just clever, isn't it?
Yeah, that is clever.
You can then take that lovely plastic rim off it, and it's got a nice lid that comes down, so it's all neat and tidy. It looks really modern. But then you can take the entire basket off its little plastic rim, and that can go in the wash as well if you need to.
Wow.
So there's some clever space-saving ideas, but making it feel modern and clean, under control.
Yeah, that's great. They are a great brand, aren't they? They do have some great products.
Yeah, definitely. But obviously I've already talked about Elfa. I love Elfa because it enables you to access and unlock the top parts of your space, and even the back of your door, having a racking system on the back of the door. It just it makes a difference. Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. What about the pantry, though?
Okay, you're dying to ask me about the pantry.
I am, because I get pantries all the time. Like, some of the... I need to have like a little folder of the most bizarre, skinny, tiny, or even these pantries that have this little section at the side that you're like, how do you even get in there to get those things out?
That's right. So, okay, I'm going to give you a really inexpensive example of something that can unlock a small... I live in an apartment. I think I just revealed that before. And it was wonderful going from the big house and downsizing into a smaller space. But fundamentally, you still got the same functions that are happening. You still got to cook, clean, etc. You still have your spices that you want to use. So I took this approach of using the very high up cupboards in a small kitchen and making them super functional. So, for instance, we have our Amelie containers which have a handle on the front with a lid on it. Perfect. Because it doesn't matter. Every single part of my kitchen is usable now because I'm using things that I can easily access. Using Mimi separators, which are the lovely plastic containers which have a integrated handle on the front. It just means that down low, underneath the sink and so on, you're using all of those spaces in a very sensible way. But if you want to upgrade from there, usually it's the corner in your pantry is usually the problem. And there's 2 corners, of course. There's a corner in your walk-in pantry, but in my instance, I don't have the luxury of a walk-in pantry. I just have a really terrible corner cupboard. So installing a Lazy Susan in there, of course, is a great way to do it. But Townsville have got this incredible solution where you can, and you've got to see it to believe it. You can have the drawers that pull out, but once they pull out, then you can put in that terrible left-hand side, which you can't even see, more drawers that then pull out behind that.
Wow.
Honestly, it is
that sounds good.
Such a hold. But in a corner walk-in pantry, probably probably my favourite there now these days, that corner space, which I would call B-grade space because it's usually not accessible. You can turn it into accessible space by putting turntables in there.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Howards have got about 20 different turntables available.
Oh, really? 20? Oh, that's amazing.
I know. And so just don't think that there isn't a problem we can't solve. Because being a specialist in storage and organisation, of course, you know, we make it our business to have all the different types, whether it be plastic, timber, etc. You know, there are clear plastics like acrylics. And I think the critical thing with turntables is making sure that they have ball bearings, like really good smooth ball bearings. The cheaper ones often will break quite quickly and break down. So at the end of the day, I mean, everybody knows it's the old adage, isn't it? You get what you pay for.
Yes,
and,
definitely.
And
even getting the size, that's what it is. Sometimes it's like, I don't know, there's this sort of the standard kitchen size that you get at the moment in modern homes, but there's those ridiculous sizes that there's just not the product. It's a cheaper home maybe, and it's just a crazy size, and you're like, why have they done this size? And whereas, so you guys have the turntables that are in different sizes that work really well on, say, even those really skinny shelves that you'd be like, what else are we really going to put here? But this way we can turn it around and everyone can access, especially kids. I think they're good turntables.
Yes, that's right, and they enjoy to use them, and you know, and there's a lot of waste. That's the thing about a kitchen today, is about eliminating waste. So, you know, these days it's not just about the cost of living crisis, as we all, you know, are tuning into, but I think it's incumbent on us all to manage our inventories better. And there's the old adage, if you can see it, you'll use it. And it's those sauces and things that end up at the back of a cupboard. You can really eliminate that waste so easily with a turntable, because you can actually see things. You don't end up doubling up.
Yeah, that's so funny. Today I did a pantry this morning and we found 5 tomato sauces and 2 barbecue sauces, and they were all half empty, you know, half full. So they were like, okay, now that we've got the turntable, we'll be able to get rid of those and then we'll just have one back stock. So it makes a big difference.
I've got a similar story where I was doing a makeover in a kitchen and there were 17 potato peelers.
Oh, really?
I think maybe 3 would be enough.
Yeah, definitely. But they were obviously getting lost and they had to keep buying them. And you usually get them in a pack of 3. So I can completely see how you got 17. Cathy, thank you so much for your time and sharing all of your tips and the products so people can jump online and have a look and check out the catalogue. Can people order a catalogue and have it sent to them?
Look, you can actually write to info@hsw.com.au and we will, of course, send you out a catalogue. But I highly recommend going to a store, especially if you've got a problem in mind, because like I was saying to you, people matter, and that human connection of being able to talk to somebody about what's going on with whatever space you're trying, whatever challenge that you're trying to resolve. So saving time, saving space, ultimately putting yourself back in control.
Yeah, definitely. So how can people connect with Howards Storage? What's the email that people need to go to have a look at the products?
Look, I would highly recommend they go to our website, actually. That's the real connection point to everything. You can connect to our socials from the website and to us at the group office here if you wanted to request a catalogue online. But www.hsw.com.au.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Cathy. It's so great to have you and to have chatted today.
Oh, lovely to reconnect with you, Narelle. I so enjoyed talking about my favourite subject, laundry.
Thank you for joining me for today's Simply Happy conversation. Would you like to have a home for everything and easily be able to find the things you need during the festive season? To help you have the best Christmas season, I've created an extra special free resource for you, the Christmas Declutter Calendar. Quick and simple ideas designed to give you immediate results in just 15 minutes each day. Feel more organised this Christmas and download your Christmas Declutter Calendar from simplyhappy.com.au in the resource section. I'd like to acknowledge the Wathaurong people of the Kulin Nation on which this podcast is recorded as the traditional custodians of the land. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging.